Welcome to NewsOK TV. I'm Dave Morris. This week on the show, we'll look at a major water agreement reached between Oklahoma City, the state, and the Chickasaw and Choctaw tribes. We'll visit the kiddos enjoying their first day of school at John Rex Elementary, at least we think they did, and we'll eat some Peruvian food. First up, that momentous water rights agreement has been reached by the Chickasaw Nation, Choctaw Nation, state of Oklahoma, and the city of Oklahoma City. Here's more from a press conference held last week.
Today is a historic day for the great state of Oklahoma. I'm proud to announce to you that the state of Oklahoma, the Choctaw and Chickasaw Nations, and the city of Oklahoma City have reached an agreement that settles long-standing water disputes, establishes a framework for future cooperation and conservation, and provides certainty for water resource management within the tribe's historic treaty territory in south central and southeast Oklahoma.
By entering into this agreement, we've chosen cooperation and collaboration over conflict. Having a sufficient and reliable supply of water is essential. The agreement fully resolves the state's debt to the federal government for the consideration for Sardis Lake, which will also ensure that Oklahoma City has a reliable water supply while providing a standard to protect lake levels in Sardis, which is something that we all agree is very important.
We all came together in the spirit of unity for the betterment of southeastern Oklahoma, central Oklahoma, and Oklahoma as a whole. One of the things to me that was really important is to make sure that we kept protections in place for all of the water. Protections such as a good lake level management plan for Sardis so the lake cannot be drained. We want to make sure that that is protected. Protections for southeastern Oklahoma because there now will be a certainty of water for our area as well as central Oklahoma. Protection of our streams because there will now be a certain amount of water in the Comiskey River Basin. Protection that natural conservation measures will now be in place so as to not waste water. Protection because there is now an allocation of water for fish and wildlife. And because of all these protections, it gives us certainty of water for our area and for the state of Oklahoma, which makes sure that we're going to continue to have economic growth and viability for southeastern Oklahoma and for the great state of Oklahoma. And so I'll leave you with this, just Chapisa la Chiki, which there is no goodbye in Choctaw, but until we see each other again. Yakoki, thank you.
Mayor Cornett and Governor Fallon also deserve much of the credit for the fact that this agreement does more than resolve past differences. It provides a framework for cooperation and collaboration. They understand that none of us lives in isolation. Our actions have an impact on those around us. Therefore, it is essential that we work together to exist in harmony, one with the other. We will be able to work together in a spirit of unity and cooperation to manage our vital water resources. This offers the very best opportunity to manage those resources in a manner that will help ensure a strong economy and a thriving natural environment for our children and grandchildren, so we can expect the benefits of this agreement to last for generations to come.
Meanwhile, schools are either back in session or beginning soon across the metro. We caught up with State School Superintendent Joy Hoffmeister and OU President David Bourne at orientation at Norman Schools.
Thank you. Thank you so much for what you do. It is because of your calling and your commitment to the school children of Oklahoma that we are going to be able to continue momentum. We are rising, and this is quite astonishing, recognizing that since 2008, we've had 50,000 more students in Oklahoma, and yet our funding has remained flat. We are in desperate need of all kinds of resources because of an increasing number of diverse learners. We are so grateful for those of you who are building those relationships with families, with students that have trauma, that have all kinds of hurdles that we really thought were something that we only heard about in certain impoverished urban settings. And yet the reality is that right here in Oklahoma, we have the same challenges, and they are increasing in number, but yet we have the talent, we have the professionalism, we have those within the ranks of Norman Public Schools who are a model for our state on how to address the needs of students, how to build a relationship, how to look at students as individuals and make certain that we are helping them realize their full promise and potential. And for that, I thank you. You are truly inspiring to me.
I get to measure every day from the students that start here, that ultimately end up at the university. I see your work. I see your handiwork. I see how you've changed lives, how you've prepared these students for life. And I just wanted to come here this morning, above all else, and say to you, thank you for being in education. Thank you for being teachers.
And the little ones enjoyed their first day of class last week at a charter school downtown. John Rex Elementary opened its doors on Wednesday.
How are you all?
Good.
It's exciting for a principal to walk in the first day and see kids that you know, as well as those kids that are new to join our community. It's especially fun to see them, the sense of independence they have, where they came in last year and maybe a little hesitant and wanted to stay with their parents and not sure of things. And this year they have this sense of leadership and knowledge of where to go, and they lead their parents and say goodbye, and they're ready to start their day. It's a gradual release of responsibilities, I guess. You know, you work and you plan, and then you turn it over to your teachers and to the other staff members, and they just take off. So it's kind of, you have a sense of pride and joy a little bit to see what you kind of plan and work for, be able to launch and take off. We call this Mission 3.0. This is our third year in operations. I think we've had extremely successful first 2 years. Particularly what interests me is the sense of community that is developing here with our students and family without being in a neighborhood. And so I think that's interesting to watch how that will evolve, and I'm seeing that grow, and that is really a shining light, I think, for our parents, and for them to be able to find a place downtown where they may not always live, but they do life. And so for them to come together here, it's really a joy to watch that.
More education coverage can be found in the Oklahoman and online at NewsOK.com. We have Tim Willert leading our coverage with Ben Felder and Catherine McNutt reporting as well. We'll be right back with an Olympic update.
The public's perception of Bodine, there was no learning going on. The kids were not engaged. It was very transient. The article that Adam Kemp wrote, it changed the perception of the entire school building, that what was happening inside the building was educational and exciting and safe. It is amazing what one article in the Oklahoman can do to change the perception of our community.
I'm not interested in the fluff and the repetition that is so common in other news sources. My time is valuable. I'm kind of an efficiency nut, and I like to be able to glean the information that I'm interested in without having to wait through a whole newscast. I've always preferred the Oklahoman in general over other news outlets because it's presented in a way that is convenient for me and in a way that's efficient.
I do sometimes use Facebook or BuzzFeed as a source of information, but it's definitely not my top source. I am sure a lot of my friends think that those sites are legit. I want to be able to believe what somebody's saying and know that it's not just an opinion. The Oklahoman is definitely a resource that I turn to for the true facts. After I've seen what's going on elsewhere, I will definitely turn to the Oklahoman to see what's really happening.
Welcome back to NewsOK TV. The Olympics continue this week before the closing ceremonies this weekend. The rowing events continue along the river in Rio. Mike Knopp, Executive Director of the Oklahoma City Boathouse Foundation, joins us every Monday in studio or on location to talk about river sport adventures along the Oklahoma River here. Here's this week's segment along with some Olympic talk. Sir, how are you?
I'm doing great.
Well, there was a story in the Oklahoman on Sunday. Our friend Chip Minty contributed the story, a lengthy article about the success the growth, the numbers you're seeing along the Oklahoma River. It led off with the river cruises, but I'll tee it up to you. There were a lot of good things said about your neck of the woods.
Well, it's just great for the river all together and everything going on. But I mean, it is, Chip's story really rings true, and even what we saw this weekend. Throughout the summer, there's been obviously a lot of excitement associated with the opening of River Sport Rapids, but the fact that the number of people coming down continues to build, and even this late in the summer, I think is really interesting and really representative of the momentum the Oklahoma River is seeing. And I think it all really goes together, like what Blair Humphreys and what the good work they're doing there at Wheeler District with the Ferris wheel and the trails are wonderful. The fact that you can ride all the way to Lake Overholser. So I think bottom line is we're getting more people outside, which is what we want, active, and when we give them these world-class amenities, outdoor adventure amenities, I think people are really starting to respond to it. And I've always talked about how can we make this part of our culture and our lifestyle, and I think it's really starting to happen.
You think that's part of the response? Chip Maney's article in the Oklahoman noticed some, or mentioned some benchmark numbers, such as sold out on the zip line, over 1,000 rafts one day.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, when we look at even this year compared to last year, the fact that every day the zip line is sold out, I mean, is certainly representative of we've got a lot of interest in people coming down and experiencing all the adventure that we have. And the rafting, as I've mentioned before, we've had to get enough raft guides to meet the demand, and we still aren't sure if we've been able to do that because there are days that we could have rafted more people, and we've had 1,000 people on the water. So I think that's great. Now the fact we kind of looking to transition into the fall, and some of our raft guides have gone back to school, and so we're coming up with ways in which we can continue to keep that capacity high throughout the fall season, considering what we're seeing out there.
Chatting with Mike Knopp, he's Executive Director of the Oklahoma City Boathouse Foundation. Let's talk about that transition. You're starting to wind down the summer hours out there. What are we looking at hour-wise?
Well, we have another full week of operations as usual, as normal down there, and then as school gets back into session, we will reduce the hours that we're open during the week for the adventures. Now, you can come out anytime and go rent a kayak or a bike, use the new pump track with the bike pass, but as far as rafting, that'll be going on actually in the evenings during the week, starting next week. And so there will still be a lot of availability during the week to go rafting after work or after school. And then people also can make a reservation for a group experience during the week if they want to bring their company out or a group of friends. There's still ways to do it during the week, but as far as our hours of our adventures, we're going to do just the rafting during the week, and then like the zip line and the sky trail and all of those things will occur more during the weekend.
Now, speaking of businesses, you guys had corporate rafting earlier this summer, and there was a handful of teams, 5 or 6 teams involved. Have you seen that grow for round 2?
It really has. It started off now, and we have about 15 teams in the corporate rafting league. So it's been a lot of growth. It's been great. People are having fun with it, and that goes along with our corporate rowing and our corporate dragon boat leagues, which are all kicking off because they culminate in the Oklahoma Regatta Festival, which is kind of what's really the next big event that we're aiming for, and that's the end of September, 1st of October, and that's where we race under the lights, and it's a big fall festival, and that's something that they have their championship during that, so everyone's got their mindset on getting ready for that event.
And the rapids that we mentioned are also used as a training facility for firefighters. Take a look.
We're at the new water park here in downtown Oklahoma City, and we're just doing some swiftwater rescue training today. We're just working on some basic operations level techniques. Basically, that's just shore-based rescues. Any rescue we can perform without getting rescuers actually in the water is safer for us and safer for the victim. And then here in just a little bit, we'll work on up to some go rescues where we're actually putting rescuers in the water to go make a contact rescue on the victim. Oh, it's been tremendous, and the administration here at the park has been more than accommodating to us, allowing us to use it for training. And the value for us is that we don't have water like this here in Oklahoma unless we have an actual flood event. And so for us to be able to come out in a somewhat controlled environment and practice our skills here is, it's just, can't really explain how valuable that is. Actually, for the most part, this is probably way worse than what we would typically see, even in a flood event here in Oklahoma. And that's a good thing, because if we practice our skills and can perform and execute them in an environment like this, it's going to be easier for us to do it in a lesser environment in the real world.
When we come back, more sports. We visit with a power lifter and a pro baseball player.
I wasn't aware that prescription drug abuse was a problem until after my son passed away.
I think that we were slow to understand the devastating effects that addiction can have on a state. The Oklahoman played a key role in bringing about significant legislative changes. Without the education that the Oklahoman provided, that initiative may not have been accomplished.
Abigail's able to gain a greater knowledge when she picks up the Oklahoman. It gives her a greater advantage moving forward on an education level.
Reading news and politics does make me smarter. It just tells me what's going on in the world. I don't want Hillary or Carly to be the first woman president. I want to be the first woman president.
I don't want to have to spend the time to look at a Twitter post and decide whether or not that's a legitimate post or not. What I'm interested in is the news, and I want the news to be reliably reported. I can trust that the Oklahoman has reporters that are going out and checking the sources, and I can trust that the information that's in the paper is factual.
And we're back at NewsOK TV. I'm Dave Morris. You're about to meet Blaine Sumner, a powerlifter who will travel to St. Croix, the Virgin Islands, to compete in the North American Regional Powerlifting Championships.
I grew up in Conifer, Colorado. I went to college at the Colorado School of Mines, played football, studied petroleum engineering, tried my hand at the NFL. Didn't work out for me. Always liked lifting heavy, and so it was a pretty natural transition to get into powerlifting, and just been powerlifting the whole time, and it's always been my dream and my passion. When I was a freshman in high school, I was about 6'1", 145 pounds, and just started to lift weights to get bigger and stronger for football and wrestling, and loved it. By the time I graduated, I got up to 260 pounds, went to college, played defensive line, so needed to get even bigger at that point. So I train in here in the gym 4 days a week, 4 hours a day. So that's 16 hours a week in here. And then I spend close to that much time crunching my video, watching my film, studying my film. I've got this place set up in here so I can film from 2 different angles on every lift, and I'll compare week to week, month to month. I keep a lot of metrics that I track my weight, my sets, my reps. I even have a device that I use to track how fast I move the bar. So I spend almost as much time crunching all that data as I do training in here. I go harder, I train harder than anybody in the world, and I think the most important thing is I care more about it, and I'm more motivated and into it, and motivated to be the best. I set the world records in the squat, the bench press, and the total. The squat was 1,102 pounds. That's 500 kilograms. And that was the first time that had ever been done. The bench press was 885 pounds, and the deadlift was 816. So that gave me a total of 2,803 pounds. So the squat, bench, and total were the world records. If you look at a snapshot of where I was as a high school freshman to now, it seems crazy, but it's been real gradual. I was 145 as a freshman, 260 as a senior. From college, I went from 260 to about 330 over 5 years, and now in my 5 years of powerlifting full-time, I've gotten up to 375, 380. It's a very friendly sport. You see pretty much the same people at the events all the time, same people at the world events. You develop friendships from people in other countries that you talk to all the time. It's a friendly sport, but the friendship doesn't motivate me. The hate motivates me, so that's why I have the hate wall.
How'd you figure that out?
You just see what motivates you, what drives you. I don't I don't get motivated to do better by people patting me on the back. I get motivated by people telling me I can't do something.
That's a lot of weight to move around. It's a big dude, too. Speaking of big dudes, Yasiel Puig met with the media before his Oklahoma City Dodgers home debut on Friday. The former LA Dodger spoke about his future with the team and what he needs to do to improve.
Yeah, I really didn't know how to use Snapchat. I was just playing around with my teammates, and just did something that it was wrong.
No, aquí me estoy preparando para darle el máximo mío, ayudar al equipo así.
Well, I'm preparing right now myself. I'm happy to be with the team. I know the team is on first place right now, so I'm gonna be the best athlete out there, and then I want to do the best for the team as well.
How are you trying to be a better teammate? You know, that seems like that's kind of been the recurring theme of some of the way people have talked.
Can you repeat that again?
How are you trying to be a better teammate?
¿Cómo piensas ser un mejor deportista, un mejor compañero?
No, eso tienes que ir todos los días temprano al terreno y ser mejor compañero en el cruzado.
Well, to be a better teammate, I think I have to be out there more. I have to get involved with my teammates. I have to talk to them, and I have to be nice and you know be out there with them. Well, when the club told me that I was coming to Oklahoma City, I took that's their option. That's what they told me. So I'm here, and I'm trying to be a better person. There's a reason why I'm here, and I just want to become a better athlete and a better teammate, like I said.
How are you trying to adjust at the plate?
¿Cómo te piensas ajustar en lo que es en el plato, en el bateo? Well, just like I said, be out there again, spend more time trying to try to be out there more, but also want to be like I was in 2013 and 2014. So I want to become a better athlete and better.
Esto no es un castigo venir a Oklahoma City, es el equipo de AAA de nosotros, entonces.
Well, I'm here in Oklahoma City. Of course, this is the AAA team. I'm here to become a better player. Like I said, that was their decision. I don't feel like it was a punishment. I feel like this is going to help me to grow.
My guess is Puig will be called up soon and then perhaps traded. So head out to the Chickasaw Bricktown Ballpark this week to catch Puig and the Oklahoma City Dodgers. Their homestand continues through Friday.
When I read the Oklahoma newspaper, it makes me feel smarter because I can learn about different things that happen on the other side of the world. Well, it's something that my friends don't do, and they're like, "Where do you get all this information?" I'm like, "Don't you know the Oklahoma newspaper?" We're like, "We don't do that. We play video games." It makes me feel smarter than them, and I like doing it, and I like being smarter than other people.
I think the biggest challenge is poverty and the issues that the kids bring to school that are beyond our control.
And a lot of times students don't have parents or an adult to listen to them read.
The Oklahoma tutors have been our most faithful, and they've really changed lives over 22 years. If every business adopted a school, we could change the world.
Unless somebody acted on their behalf, they probably would not see the World War II Memorial because it was erected 6 decades after their service. The coverage that we received in the Oklahoma brought some big-time financial support that allowed us to take well over 2,000 Oklahoma veterans to D.C. at no cost to them. The Oklahoma and other foundations have literally put feet and wings to our mission.
In a story to be published in Wednesday's editions of the Oklahoman, Dave Cathy writes about Naylamp. It's a Peruvian restaurant owned by Raul Ramos. We sat down with Ramos to talk about his second location. It's near Northwest 50th and MacArthur, and the food that he serves.
Naylamp, you know, like you say, we start first like a group of friends, you know, Neil, Zambrano, Juan Castro, and me, we were put something together and we started a Peruvian restaurant. I remember at that point, you know, there was a lot of people who tell us, you know, you're not gonna make it the first year. Here we are, you know, years later, and we're really happy to keep serving what we know what to do, you know.
Absolutely.
It's authentic Peruvian food. Our Peruvian food is kind of unique, you know, especially on South America, and we have the same perception here, you know. We have great reviews, actually. We have a lot of people who love the spices, who love the way that we do our cooking. You know, it's a little bit different. Like I said, we're trying to keep it as close as we can to our Peruvian, you know, authentic Peruvian food. So we ship a lot of items, you know, like peppers, you know, like we bring like different kind of peppers, like 4 or 5 different kind of peppers, to make sure that the food that we are serving is, you know, is really, you know, what the Peruvian people, Peruvian community wants, you know. But at the same time, we want to present, you know, something to our, you know, address it to everybody else, you know. And we, over these 7 years, we find out, you know, that people love our food, and we're really happy about that. We have a new location right here on the north side. We're trying to promote our culture, because that's basically what it is. You know, at the end of the day, we are trying to present what we are, and you know, through the food. That's our mission. Finally, when we opened this location, we decided, you know, to go like 100%, you know, making sure it's completely authentic. And what we did is we actually shipped a machine from Peru just to make sure. Just to make sure that that's the same way we're doing on there. You know, we have a machine that only works with a charcoal. It's a charcoal oven. You know, it's that's the way that we actually cook it. No gas, no anything, just charcoal. You know, and it's a really moist chicken. You have we use more than 18 herbs and spices in order to make it. We marinate that for 36 hours just to make sure the flavor is there. You know. And we have been really popular with this chicken, you know, since we opened. That sauce is basically, you know, it's just a sauce made with a Peruvian pepper. It's kind of orange color. It have a different way to make it like a pasta. It's not that spicy. It's not really that, you know, it have a small kick, and that's what we want, you know, something that people can taste and can, you know, have some flavors on. We have some South American beers, and especially we have Peruvian beers called Cusqueña. It's have a great flavor. We have a lot of people who drink it here. You know, they love it, so we're pretty happy with that. Of course, we have some parties, Peruvian parties here all the time. So we just want to make sure that our community is actually, you know, being close to our home, you know. And we'll be happy to have everybody here, you know. I invite you to come here and taste, you know, what is Peruvian food and what is our culture, you know, and I'll be happy to present that to you, you know.
That orange sauce that you saw with the noodles was excellent. It had some spice to it. More food coverage can be found every Wednesday in New Oklahoman by Dave Cathy, and you can follow him on the Twitter @TheFoodDude as well. That's it for this week. Thanks for watching. More videos like these can be found on our website at newsok.com. Have a great week, everyone.